Good morning to all. Okay, that's the PowerPoint I sent like 10 minutes ago, so we're good to go. Much honored to be here, obviously. And for those who don't know us, because they could not attend the sessions yesterday or the day before yesterday or last year, or the year before last year, or the year before last year, I'll just have a quick reminder of who we are and what we do at INA. Basically, we hold decades of television, radio, and web memory. We safeguard this legacy to shape our future heritage. So, in terms of figures, you have them behind me. Just remind you that from its creation, INA was entrusted with the mission to collect, enhance, and transmit audiovisual contents, but also to lead research, produce, and train professionals in the audiovisual field. Why do I remind you this? Is just to introduce a quick disclaimer, two actually. First disclaimer is that the focus of this keynote is really our editorial strategy as an heritage-based media, which means I'll leave aside many aspects of our media activities at INA. Second disclaimer, I was supposed to co-present with my fellow director, Antoine Baillet, editorial director at INA, so I'll try to fill his shoes as best as I can, but I'll do my best. So, figures and missions. INA brings together a massive bulk of archives, and a great variety of trades, as well as an extensive range of know-how. With all this, we create, we analyze, we train and inform, and we serve all audiences across every digital network. The first challenge, or the challenge that keeps presenting itself, is the challenge of access. Because actually, this is our main question. How do we provide access to this huge bulk of archives? Or do we connect them to our audience? The first answer was technological, of course. I don't go back to the presentation you had yesterday about massive digitalization by my colleagues at INA, and that was an answer. Digitizing, describing, so that we can find, obviously, the archives. Another answer came from our law on legal deposit that allowed us to open venues, drop-in centers that could welcome academics, researchers, and thus make our collections available, readable, make them seen. But still, the question we had was, the question which remained was how to address the general audience in a context when, before all that, you had to come to INA to watch our contents and access them. So as we had no venue like museums, we opted for another strategy. Go out and meet people where they are, just like a media would. That's when all the media strategy, the heritage-based media actually strategy began. Our goal is to create heritage-based content in order to keep heritage alive. INA's outreach policy is to create a direct, immediate relationship between its audiences and these 26 million hours of content. We started with our website, ina.fr, like 15 years ago. It has now become kind of a hub for all our offers and services. It actually reads as a newspaper or newsfeed. That would be more in terms with nowadays to say a newsfeed than a newspaper. Still working on that. And it has become really the embodiment of what we do. This is yesterday's home. So you'll see that we always have different topics that are tackled up in relationship to news items, in relationship to more general society issues, social issues. We also developed another offer, or targeting general audience, which is INA Madeleine, which is an SVOD service, in which we offer every week, every month, new proposals that are curated by our journalists and documentalist archivists together, not by AI, to offer proposals of fictions, documentaries, like long forms of contents that are in our collections. the first lesson when transforming into a media was that at a time when we are saturated by information, by instant contents, when everything is completely flooded with audiovisual medias, audiovisual contents, abundance was not the key anymore. But the key for our contents was to be carefully curated, which means from our main assets, being we have a collection, we hold a collection of 26 million hours, we moved on to a second asset, which is we know our collection, we have archivists, we have documentalists that can actually read them, replace them in a context, and carefully curate them. That was a key to the success of our different offers. Sorry. The second principle is to always consider archives in their context. This is not new. This is the basic of archives and their reading, basically, be them on paper or on audiovisual content. But this is the principle that is at the core of many of our offers. You see behind me our educational offers. I think you've heard about it yesterday also. But Lumni is an educational offer designed for teachers, so they can access resources, many, like 3,000 or 4,000 of resources that are described, explained, contextualized, so they can actually enrich their class, enrich their teaching with these audiovisual modules. As you see, they are also designed as much as we can. I mean, it's not always the case, but we endeavor to give keys to understand what surrounds us, the issues that surround us, the issues that strikes the news every day. So, for instance, this is very, very new content, fresh content, because it is TV report, information, news report that was aired a few days ago about a teacher that has been assassinated in France. Maybe you have heard about that, but it is the second case. This is a copycat of a previous item report, a news report. And this is important for teachers to have keys, to try and explain, to try and contextualize what's happening, what is a trauma, how to explain, how to better comprehend the trauma that has just happened. We have other ways to tackle up news report. For instance, you have here behind me different examples. On the far left, you have an interview that has been aired on social media, on social network, of a man on the street back in 1982 with the question, what do you think of retirement at the age of 60? And on the central image, you have a full comprehensive article designed by a teacher on the full history of retirement in France since 19th century. And those are two very complementary ways of tackling up news report, because as you know, we had quite some issues in France about this reform that was pushed by government at the beginning of last year. And here again, you have two options. One option is given to teachers so they can put back in context what is going on. And you have here another way that is really interesting is that for the general audience on social networks, we offer a counterview, a counterpoint to what is actually happening on the news. And this is a very light counterpoint. This is just a man on the street, 1982, saying, oh yeah, 60, that's good. And then followed by a woman on the street saying, oh my God, 60 is quite late, 55 better. And then, trying to say what's happening in France is not a new topic. This is a long trend topic in our history. We can also be lighter because, for instance, on your far right, my far left, is a picture of Minister of Education, age 11. That was found back in our archives by documentalists, and which was suggested by archivists to our journalist team. The important thing with all these offers is that they are prepared by different trades working together at INA. Lumni is made by a really active teamwork between archivists, editorialists, people at INA, and teachers, be they teachers in general school or academics, to prepare fully comprehensive papers. These, on the far left and far right, are prepared by daily teamwork led by journalists together with archivists. This is how we actually manage to make archives alive. Third lesson for us was to multiply formats. Imagining new formats, keeping moving as the audience moves on the web. So, for instance, behind me you have a political emission that we created as a digital native content. And the idea came with the presidential election back in 2022. And we were thinking, why not portray all the candidates running for the campaign and portray them through archives and their relationship through to archives. So the principle is all of them, almost all of them, since President Macron did not went on public media for the campaign, was presented with always the same protocol, the same kind of archives, and were asked to react on them. And since then, we decided to keep that format and open it to different people, to political figures, but also cultural figures, media figures. So, for instance, in the middle, you have Abd al-Malik, who is a French rapper, poet also, and we asked them in this interview to react to police brutality, police violences, by listening to an interview that was recorded in the 1990s of Mathieu Kassovitz, French director that made by that time the film La Haine, if you've seen it, and was saying exactly the same thing. What is violence, police violence? What is police brutality? So this is the way we keep our archives alive, actually. The thing with this work is that it enables us to renew, revitalize the archives in as much as it gives them a special reach, in which time imbues contents with a distance to and a special resonance with the current context, and thus confirming the idea we all know that beyond their historical character, their heritage character, archives preserve a trace that is still very alive. Beyond multiplying formats, there you see we also have developed podcasts, and this is working. They've passed 4 million listenings this year, more focused onto fiction, because we know that fiction is what mainly works with podcasts. So you can see crime archives, that really works. But also a series based on the life before, La vie d'avant. Or was schooling back in the 1960s, or was day-to-day life for a woman back in the 1950s, stuff like this. And we keep doing this on every possible channel, actually. So what you see on your left is the advertising Samsung made when INA joined their FAST channel. So, you know, FAST channel, really, this is a new way to reinvent linear broadcasting, actually, but on the web. And we did that with the interviews and shows of Thierry Ardisson, who is a very famous French journalist, and whose interviews were very original, very edgy at that time. And so still very popular to the audience. And so I like the phrase they found, meaning Samsung Movies Fair ranges from global heroes to local legends. And it actually works because the figures also of the audiences for Thierry Ardisson are quite good. Another way also of multi-channeling, multi-broadcasting our contents lies with the fact that we channel audiences to our website. And this is an interesting example. I don't know if you remember, but back in, I think it was 2020 in France, there was a panic moment about a crime, about a news item, about horses that were slashed ears cut off in macabre attacks across France, mutilated horses. I don't know if you heard that. It turned out to be a lie. It turned out to be a fake, a story built up by a woman who was simply neglecting the animals she meant to take care of. And so our journalists wrote an extensive article about that, led an investigation about that lie, and our media actually took that lie for granted and multi-broadcasted it. And that was a very interesting success for our website, La Revue des Médias, which is an online journal, media. And this was rerun by different French media, even on the news evening report. And I think it reached something over 200,000 views and reading this year, which is actually, for one article, a huge score. So here you see the strategy of this multi-diffusion, multi-posting, the same content being posted on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at different lengths, extensive lengths, shorts, as we call them. And this works. As a result, we went from 80 million views per year in 2015 to over 1 billion in 2022. And we are, from September already, we were at 1.3 billion already. And with incomes that also rose from €500,000 per year in 2015 to €7 million per year. So this is a confirmation that this strategy creates a loop of social value in many ways. This also brought attention on us that we are very proud of, because this is just by doing what we do that we had this full article in Le Monde, which is still the main newspaper in France, saying from a heritage conservatory to a cool media that seduces the useful that are less than 30. So this is how in-house contents are now perceived. This is the force of the archives when you put them to life. And same thing here on the left, it was just a line on the radio a few weeks ago saying, you just had to think about it. You just had to find a recipe, and the recipe is simple. Just put online a relevant archive. You don't even need a comment, and that works. And that's exactly what was the chronicle about, saying, oh, I thought about that, and that was really a good thing to do. On another side, we also create archives for tomorrow. INA has a tradition of collecting testimonials, recording interviews of key figures so that they can testify on their lives, on the time they went through, to pass on to the next generation. Here behind me is an example that was recorded back in 2006 for the memory of the Shoah, the trauma of the Shoah, mixing interviews from people who were deported and their children, and people in France who helped hiding their children or families. And the thing is, this is key to our understanding of the past, but also of present questions. To this memory collection, testimonial collections, we apply the same strategy. And for instance, Simone Veil, who was a former European MP and French minister, who you may know, we took a testimonial again, and we went from its original form, just put online on the website, and thought how to reach new audiences, how to make the useful today listen to this crucial, essential testimony. And so we went to see a book publisher and say, why don't we work together? And they said, yes, of course we do. And in 1 month, 2 months maybe, they delivered a written approach to a testimonial, which actually has been sold by 70,000 copies today, which is the proof of still an appeal and then for this testimonial and its importance. We created a TV documentary, and we created a podcast, all launched together so that you could access this crucial testimonial in any possible ways. And we keep doing it with other parts of these collections. The second testimonial that we have published was by Georges Kejman, a French lawyer, who was hidden during the war with his mother. And we are starting a new campaign. Those are very exclusive images. I'm sorry, it's not scoop, but it's scoop yet, because it's the first images of Edgar Morin's testimonial. So Edgar Morin is a French sociologist, philosopher, thinker, to sum it up. He turned 102 years back in August, and still, for 2 hours and a half, he has the clarity of mind that we wish we had today. So we asked him to come to us and deliver a full testimony of his life so that he can pass it on to next generations. And we intend to do that on a monthly basis. We are not staccanovist yet, but so that we can create memory for tomorrow and keep enriching our collections. So as a long-term media, we are instrumental in shedding light on current events and helping better understand the world in which we live. We are a distinctive media by sharing our knowledge and skills with the younger generation, as well as professionals. And archives through this become beyond memories, and I borrowed this expression to the Luma Foundation in Arles to Maya Hoffman, a mirror held up towards us. And that's really important for us to keep this heritage alive and to have this heritage working as a mirror to our society nowadays. I'm over by 1 minute, I think, but so really quickly, because this seminar is all about AI and data, just to open this, we have our ability to pick the right content at the right time, or capacity to make wise editorial choices, fully relies on the knowledge we have built around our collections. This is the reason why at INA's archivists and journalists work hand in hand. This is also the reason why content description is a key asset to our work, and therefore data. And data management is a key asset in this strategy, of course. The construction of a data lake that allows both the storage of metadata and their discoverability and accessibility by search engines is essential to make content easily accessible. We have, at the heart of our strategy, a data center that enables us to retrieve contents at the right time, at the right moment. This is very central. And it was also the first step that's rethinking of the management and storage of INA's metadata, that the prerequisite for opening the door to the use of AI in collection management. We are currently testing technologies that are both mature enough and appropriate to meet business needs. In terms of data management, we started with the segmentation of broadcast flows and the segmentation of programs. They were the first use cases identified and deployed. But to remain to remain an innovative media, we aim at offering our data expertise for all uses. We rely on two traditions here, both a tradition of research and innovation and a tradition of accompanying academics in their observation of the broadcast news reports of the media landscape today. So on the one side, our million of hours of content and data are available for exploration for data mining by researchers with the help of tools designed by our research department, such as INA speech segmenter, voice recognition, multimedia, mining and analysis of metadata, or signature, which is a tool used for protection of copyrighted content. We developed, depending on calendars, two different services now. One is called data.ina.fr. Maybe you had a presentation already on that, so I'll be very quick, but just to make a rebound on what was said just before me. Yeah, saw your hand. Is that the importance with this is not only to offer a service that can objectify the themes, the frequency at which thematics are tackled up by the medias, but also the way we make it work. There is a very important place to methodology and transparency. there is a very important role for us to play in explaining where the data come from when they are generated by AI. And this is why our team made the choice to explain each time the methodology, explain how the AI tools work and how they manage to produce the results that are available. The second one, and I will be very quick because you have a presentation coming, is Le Lab, which is an academic and research service designed to accompany and help researchers and academics in their project using these AI tools, using our data in large bulk, in corpora, and providing a methodology companionship as well. But Claude will tell you all about it around noon, I think. So just as a conclusion, we are always innovating in terms of how we editorialize the service. We cannot stop, actually, because it is the ways in which we provide access to display and exhibit, present or edit our resources and services that guarantees us our singularity, our place in the media landscape. Through all this innovation and changeovers, evolutions, we remain guided by simple ideas. One, the need for accessibility and access, but also the need to always place archives in context, be it in context, in their context, in a context. And we remain guided by the very simple conviction that there can be no creation in the absence of memory. I'm done.
Questions to the audience, from the audience, please. Come on, you're not all set for the coffee. Yeah, here.
Well, Jacob Steiner from the Austrian Public Service, ORF. Thank you very much. I feel like a kid in the candy store. It's so cool, all the projects, and I don't know which to ask first, but one question would be, do you have any numbers on the development on the user, how they come from TikTok, Instagram to your site, to your homepage? Has there been any development? How is it now? And yeah, the other questions I forgot, sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We do. These figures are getting... Oh. This is impressive. I'm not turning my back. No, we have started doing that for the past 2 or 3 years, I think, trying to understand the path our audience took and take on a daily basis to access our contents. The conclusion is that our website is now mainly accessed through social media, and that social media is now the main entry point when, you know, it happens now on a daily basis, maybe not, but like on a very frequent basis, that people that you meet ask you where you work and say, oh yeah, I saw you on Facebook, oh yeah, I follow you on Instagram, that's good. And that's the first entry to INA today. And it's also, and the figures confirm that. I would have to give you a precise figure to ask Clément at marketing, but yeah, we are monitoring it very carefully and adapting, evolving, depending on those figures. The fact that we diversify, we changed formats, and we had our formats evolving over the past 2 years is also key to attracting new audience. When updating the figures, I was surprised to see that last year, at the same time of the year, we had only 100,000 followers on TikTok, and that we have now, at the end of the year, more followers on TikTok than on Twitter. That's a shift that we cannot foretell, actually. So figures help us in that way.
The wonderful tools, AI, that you offer on the lab for academics, is it available to overseas researchers?
Well, that's a question. I can't see Claude. but Claude may answer that very much better than I'm going to do it right now. It's available only so far at INAS for a legal reason, basically, mainly because the legal deposit in France can be recorded and archived only in as much as it is not opened outside of its drop-in centers or venues. So you have to come to INA to work. We make exceptions when we have a team of researchers that are looking into a specialized field and need bulk of archives, some archives, a corpus of archive. We can work on sending over data so that they can work with their algorithms, with their tools, or we can embark their tools to have them work on our collections. But we have to respect that legal obligation. We are asking for distant access, but it has to go through the European Commission. So maybe in a few years.
Okay, so thank you very much. There is some householding, so give it, please, a big applause.
Thank you.